All right, Elaina. Elaina, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Maryland and I grew up in Queens, New York.
Tell me about your family growing up.
I was adopted as a baby, and I was adopted by a family of two teachers. And basically, Queens is all I knew. So that's about it.
How would you describe your childhood?
My childhood was a little bit tumultuous. I grew up with um, not a lot of stability as a kid. My brother had cancer when he was young, so I was shuffled around a lot while my parents were trying to figure that out. My mom had a lot of problems after her parents died, so there were issues with that. And I also had a lot of issues on my own front dealing with being adopted. I had a lot of things that I had to work out. Being adopted, I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. I felt very abandoned, and I had abandonment issues throughout my childhood.
Did you find out that you were adopted early on?
I knew I was adopted because my brother was adopted also, and he was a week older than I was. And my father used to joke around that we were adopted to people who would ask. They would always ask if we were twins. And he made jokes about us being adopted. And in hindsight, they weren't very funny. They actually traumatized me because it wasn't something that I found funny. He didn't know that they were something that were triggersome to me. He just thought that he was clowning around and making a joke about it.
Mm.
But they were things that I really struggled with, especially since I felt like my mom, she left me in a hospital when I was first born. And I knew that growing up. And I found that him joking around about it was really insensitive. And every time people were to ask about it, I just felt like it was a constant reminder of the fact that a woman who gave birth to me didn't really want me.
Mm. Other than the adoption issue, were there any other rough spots in your childhood, or that was the big issue?
That was the big issue. And then when my brother got cancer, I was abandoned a second time because my father took care of him and my mother couldn't handle it. So she stayed home by herself and nobody really wanted to take care of me. So my grandparents took care of me for a little while, and then they decided that they didn't want me either. And then my uncle took me in for a little while, and then I became too much for him. And then I was just sort of pawned off on family members, and I was abandoned for a second time. And it just always felt like I didn't really have stability in those formative years where, a child really needs stability and not to feel like they're abandoned.
What were you like in high school?
High school was really rough for me. My dad actually taught in my high school, which wasn't good. I think I needed my own space to grow as a person and not have somebody constantly down my throat and making sure I was where I was supposed to be. I don't think I was able to be my true self. I think it was just I was forced to be who he wanted me to be. And I think that ultimately played a big part in a really bad youth experience, young 15, 16 years old. I rebelled a lot, and ultimately it led to me running away.
Hmm. You ran away at what age?
I ran away as soon as I graduated high school. I ran away, I think I was 16 years old.
Did you leave Maryland, or you went?
Well, I was in New York at the time. I left New York. I moved to Buffalo, and then I moved to Canada for a little while. And then ultimately, I moved down to Florida. And I had no contact with my family. I wanted nothing to do with them. And then we reconnected when I ended up getting pregnant at 20 years old.
You have a child?
Yes. My child now is 12 years old.
And you're raising
Yeah,
him?
I'm a full-time single mom. My son's never met his dad.
And you live where now?
Right now I live in Queens.
In Queens.
There was domestic violence issues with my son's dad. So I just decided it would be best for me to raise him on my own. I don't speak to him. I haven't spoken to him since before my son was born. It's better that way. He's basically a deadbeat. I want nothing to do with him. And at the end of the day, he lost out on the best kid ever. My son and I are best friends, and I'm just so happy that I get to parent the most amazing kid ever.
That's great. And how old are you now?
Right now, I just turned 34.
And how have you supported yourself since you went on your own?
So I graduated nursing in 2015, and I was a stripper in the past, and I did sugar babying also.
Why'd you leave nursing?
I left nursing because of COVID, and I actually suffer from MS. So it's not actually the safest profession for me, considering I have an autoimmune disease. So it's not really the best thing for me to do health-wise. So
And how are you supporting yourself today?
sugar babying.
Sugar baby. That's interesting.
Yes.
And so plastic surgery is a big part of your life.
Yes.
Obviously. How did that start?
It started out actually when I was 16, or maybe even before that. I always had this idea that the only reason that a mother would give up a child is because they don't like the way they look. And this was my idea since I was a very young child, and I didn't really know any better. I knew that my biological mother kept 2 other daughters and gave me up. So I really only thought that the reason that she gave me up was because of my looks. So I felt as though she didn't like what I look like. So I wanted to transform what I look like to, something else.
To win love back.
What?
To win love back, whether it's
her
love or someone else's.
Yeah, to win my mother's love back.
Right.
And basically, I had my first rhinoplasty at 16 years old. And it was an instant gratification for me. I was instantly happy with the way my nose looked. And then after that, I basically just wanted more and more. I got my lips done, my cheeks done, my chin done. I had gotten everything done to my face. And I just loved the way that I looked. And it was just such a different look. And I felt like I was so proud of this new me. And I ended up reconnecting with my mom back in 2021.
How did that go?
She told me that I looked beautiful, and she actually regretted giving me up for adoption. So I told her about all the plastic surgery, and she told me that I showed her before pictures, and she said that before I had my plastic surgery that I looked the most like her out of all of her other daughters, which was very interesting to me. And she still told me that I looked beautiful.
Well, did she tell you why she gave you up?
She told me that she gave me up because she had 2 other daughters and she couldn't afford them. But the thing is, after she gave me up, she had another daughter 9 months later after me, basically. So it really didn't sit right with me.
And she kept that 4th one?
Yeah, she kept the 4th one. And me and the 4th one, Kim, are actually the closest to this day. I love my little sister, Kim. And so if anything came from it, Kim and I are very close. And I love my little sister, Kim. We talk almost all the time.
That's got to be hard for you to process, being the one daughter that was not chosen, was not kept.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Whether you can intellectually rationalize it or not, you were still, of your 3 sisters, or of the 4 daughters, you were kicked out.
Yeah,
That's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
So back to your plastic surgery. What other things have you had done?
I had pretty much everything that you could have on your face done. I have, instead of lip fillers, I have silicone in my lips, so it's permanent, because I was spending so much money on lip fillers that it was just astronomical, so I just got permanent silicone, basically fillers, like droplet fillers. And then I got breast augmentation 3 different times. I have 800 cc's. I had a tummy tuck with basically stomach corseting, where they sewed my stomach muscles shut. I had 4 BBLs. I have butt implants.
What is a BBL?
It's basically Brazilian butt lift.
Okay.
It's where they do lipo 360, where they lipo your whole body. And they lipoed my arms, my legs, basically everywhere. And they put the fat in my hips and in my butt. And I didn't feel that the fat was enough. So I basically got silicone hip implants and silicone butt implants. And what else did I do? I did pretty much everything. I'm sure I'm forgetting things. I have a silicone chin implant. I talked about rhinoplasty.
So the idea is to have more of an hourglass figure?
Yes. Yeah.
Is this an addiction for you?
It's not really an addiction. It's just something that I want to look perfect. And it's something that, like, people go to the gym. I go to the gym and stuff, and you always want to look better. It's just a maintenance type of thing.
Do you think it's just some sort of thing you're doing we mentioned it earlier, to gain the love back of your mom, or something along those lines?
Initially it was, and then when I realized my mother loves me, it stopped for a little while. Like, I was able to ease up on it, and now I don't do it as often. I still feel as though I want to look perfect for myself, and I just want to feel like I'm the best that I can be. And it's not for anybody else. Like, I'm not doing this to impress so-and-so. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have anything like that. I'm doing it because it makes me happy. And I think that we should all do things that make us happy. It's not hurting me. It's not hurting anybody else. I think it's just like, guys who go to the gym. They're not going to the gym because it's hurting anybody, because it's making somebody else happy. It's just because it's making themselves happy. And I think that we could all stand to do things that, for our own mental health, and this is something that is good for my mental health. It's, and my son supports it. I talk to him about it, and I tell him, it's really important to, work on your mental health and do things that make you happy. And I tell him that this is something that makes me happy, and he understands. And we talk about, like, positive things and things that make us happy. And his thing is video games, and my thing just happens to be plastic surgery. So, I guess it's a little bit different on a different spectrum.
Sure.
But
Have you been in love before?
have I been in love? Yeah, I have been.
And there are guys who are really into the look that you have, right?
Yeah, for sure. The guy that I was in love with is very much into the look. And
is it kind of like you're trying to be a Barbie doll or something like that?
Yeah. I love when people call me a Barbie doll. It's like the biggest compliment I could get. I love the Barbie doll look. But again, I do it for myself.
Did you have Barbies as a young girl?
Yes. And my whole house, the inside, like my area, not my son's room or anything like that, but my bedroom, all the pillows are Barbie. The whole room is pink. Like, it's just my scene. I just like it. I enjoy it. And part of it, like, I go to therapy and I do analyze that. aspect of myself. And I think that maybe because I had such a shit childhood, maybe I'm reliving a little bit of my childhood, and maybe I'm going through that now. And Barbies are for little kids, and maybe I didn't get to experience that so much as a little kid, and maybe I'm just going through that now, and maybe I just have to go through it, deal with it, and maybe it'll be something that I just love forever, and maybe that's just always going to be my thing. But
You're not
maybe
hurting
part
anybody.
of it. What?
You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, I'm not hurting anybody.
I mean, you're
It's
probably
just
just
my
reacting
thing.
to what you went through as a child.
Yeah, it's not hurting anybody. I'm single. It's my room. I could do what I want with it. But I love the Barbie look. I love pink, and it is what it is.
What would you say is your biggest fear? What are you most concerned about?
My biggest fear is something happening to my son ultimately, and him not accepting the whole Barbie thing, and him saying, like, I don't want you to do this anymore, because I love it so much. And I think my biggest fear is for him to say, like, that's enough. Because if he does say ultimately he's had it, I will stop. Like, that's it. Like, I care about what he thinks, and his opinion matters so much to me. I'm a mother first, before I'm a Barbie, before I'm a plastic surgery guru, before anything. And if he says he doesn't want me to do anymore, that's it. And I think that's my biggest fear, that he tells me that he's had it with my shit.
How old is your son?
He's 12, going on 13.
Yeah,
He'll
so
be 13.
he's right at that age where that might come into play.
Yeah, but when I ask him about it, he loves it. He thinks it's actually really cool.
As long as you love your son, I think it'll all work out.
Yeah, we have like little mom-son dates. I take him to get his hair dyed, and he loves doing that kind of stuff. And
Again, you're not hurting anybody.
yeah, he loves it. He's very much an individual. He likes it. He's very much into style. When there was an exhibit at the Museum of Natural History with fashion, when that came out, we went to go see it together, and he loved it. We took so many photos together. He's very much into fashion.
That's great.
And he's my little fashionista, and I think it's great, because we could relate to things on that level.
That's wonderful.
And I think it's really cool.
That's really great. I would have thought that getting old might have been a big concern of yours.
No, I'm not scared of getting old. I embrace getting old, but I'm going to do it with style.
That's a great attitude.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets in your life?
Um,
Or if you had your life to live all over again, would you have done things differently?
I would have loved myself sooner.
Join the club.
Yeah.
That's a struggle for everybody.
Yeah.
Most people.
Yeah.
And you have friends?
No. I don't have friends. People don't understand me.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you misunderstood by most people?
Yeah, I have my internet friends, the other girls who are like me. We're all in like a clique together.
Yeah, you told
like
me
have
you're friends with Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, we have like a little clique, Lacey Wild, a few other, like big plastic surgery people. We're all in like this little like clique of, plastic surgery.
Do you guys all get each other?
Yeah, we all get each other. I have a friend, Naomi.
You probably have a secret language you all speak.
Yeah, we all speak a secret language. We all have little codes, and we have forms of currency and stuff like that. And no, but I have a friend, Naomi. We just went to Miami together, and I went with her to get her boobs redone. So we all do stuff like that. It's definitely a different world, because the way we have fun is different than the way other people have fun. Like, people go to Miami to go to the beach and stuff. We go to Miami to get boob jobs together. So,
what kind of guy is attracted to a woman like you? There's probably a certain type.
Guys with mommy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. for sure. And guys who have issues at home with their wives, usually. And that's always an issue.
Being a sugar baby and doing things like that, what have you learned about men?
That they're pigs. No offense.
Yeah, I've heard a lot.
Yeah.
The guys will be married.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of married guys who will do anything. A lot of guys don't really expect anything. They just will pay you for your time.
Just companionship.
Yeah. Just companionship.
They just want to be seen in public with you?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of guys just like the look of having somebody,
Your
younger.
arm candy for sure.
Yeah.
So what's your dream? What would you like to be in 5 years, 10 years? What do you see?
Settle down, I think. Maybe. The idea of being settled down is nice, but then again, I like to have my own space. So maybe the idea of being settled down, but also having my own separate house would be nice. That's sort of like the best of both worlds for me. Like my own house and then a house that we could go to together and then a husband with his own house. That would be nice.
I think that's why a lot of couples have gigantic houses.
Yeah.
With lots of rooms, lots of space.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be it for me.
So they can tolerate each other.
Yeah. I think that would be perfect for me. Yeah.
And Elaina, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
The most important lesson I've learned is to not let the opinions of others take away from your values and take away from the way that you feel about yourself. Because if I were to sit and read through all the comments on my videos, on my posts, about every nasty thing that everybody has to say.
Oh, it'd be too much.
Yeah, I would just be sitting in my room crying all day.
No, you have to avoid that.
Yeah, I don't even read comments because I really don't care what Meredith from Montana has to say about me. And another thing is, they're not living my life. They don't understand it. They've never done this. So how can I expect them to understand what I'm going through when they haven't done this themselves?
Well, they didn't get rejected by a mom who kept her 3 other daughters.
Exactly. They've never lived through this. So how can they know what I'm going through when they haven't been through this themselves? Yeah. They have no right to even comment on my life when they haven't been through this themselves. And yeah, they want to call me ugly. And the biggest thing that everybody says is, oh, her lips are too much. She was so much prettier before. I don't care. I like them. And you know what? I really don't care. That's always the comment that I get. Like, I couldn't even get past anything. I was too distracted by her lips. Like,
I think people need to understand that, one, this is a coping mechanism, maybe for what you went through as a young girl. 2, you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
You don't look bad.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And for certain guys, this is exactly what they love.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to factor in all that before you start making judgments.
Yeah. And probably for their husbands too. And that's probably some of the issue.
Maybe that's why they're not so positive.
A lot of them are scared to do it themselves, and that's why they leave the negative comments. A lot of it's their own insecurity.
What kind of emotions do you go through?
Sometimes I get depressed because I do remember the reasons that I got here, but then it's almost like a switch goes off, and I remember the conversations that I've had with my biological mom, and she has told me that, you know, I love you and things like that. And just hearing that, it makes it a little bit better. But the depression really stems from the fact that she didn't want to keep me.
Yeah.
So And the bit about how she kept my youngest sister.
Yeah, that's
And I'm so happy that she did, because I love my youngest sister and I want to protect her. I know we didn't grow up together, but she's still my youngest sister, and I love Kim, and I want to protect her so much. Like, if I would do anything for her, and I'm glad she didn't have to go through this.
You seem very good-hearted, considering that you were kind of given the short stick.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think, and I hate to say this, but unfortunately, karma might have gotten the better of my biological mother. I have an older sister, like I told you, Stacy, and she passed away from terminal brain cancer. So, like I said, my biological sisters, I had two of them that my mother kept, and only one of them made it past 27. So, I think my mom thinks about that too. And she was 27 when she died of brain cancer. And that really bothered me so much, because I finally got to meet them. And then I didn't get very long to spend with them because my sister died. So.
Do you have sugar daddies that will take care of you nicely?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do.
What kind of money do they spend on you?
Oh, it depends on what I need. It depends on what I ask for. Usually anything I ask for.
And you'll have more than one at play at a time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I usually have a rotation, and yeah.
And are those empty relationships for you? Do you wish you had more of a connection with anyone?
No. I've had somebody give me his 401k before.
Really?
Yeah. So far, I've spent on my plastic surgeries $180,000. According to Google, at least, I think it's a little bit more. And part of that was somebody who gave me his 401k. And one of the worst things, actually, that somebody said to me in a club was, and I feel so guilty repeating this, but he said, I wish I didn't have my kids. He was like, I wish my kids died so that I could give all my money to you.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
All right, Elaina, thank you so much for sharing your story.
All right. It was good to talk to you.
I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.